All right. Hopefully, if you're looking at this and watching this, it is the afternoon. Uh, Currently, it should be close to noontime Central Standard Time. However, um, some of you may not have noticed or may have seen here recently, the team of us men, about 15 guys under the direction of P. Coffee Brown, we released a book. You say you love me, but do you respect me? So the book pretty much comprises of about 15 guys, as I said, and we all tackle different chapters throughout the book, basically surmising different perspectives and angles of how we see respect. Versed on, of course, the relationship between man and women, some husband wife, some relationship, however you call it. And just by the way, I didn't get much sleep last night, so I have these glasses on because I'm trying to, my eyes look a little tired, so I don't have them on. I'm not having glasses on for any stunting purposes. They're just on for that reason. I may take them off. But anyway, as I was asked that, hey, you've been interviewing everybody, and like I said, if you guys caught the video last night or the last 2 weeks of the promotion for the live launch, I had promised you guys that I'm going to also be doing some quick meetups with some of the guys, some of the authors. I may do it in pairs. I may do 3 of them at a time really quickly to kind of let them be a little more introduced in a more intimate and personal way to you guys. But I wanted to, as myself being an author as well on the book, I kind of wanted to give my kind of overall perspective on how I see this whole concept of respect. I know it could be something where typically this could be something where folks can generally sort of be like, well, when I say folks, women, I know sometimes when they hear that word, sometimes it could be like scratching on the chalkboard, right? It's like, what are the men talking about now? Respect this and respect that. Because I realize it. Most of the times women are looking for, I guess, performance results out of a man. They would rather see a man produce and do certain things, or, in addition to being a provider, can I depend on you? Is your word solid? Are you consistent? All of those things definitely help the cause of men being respected, right? But let's tap into that just a little bit. And I think I wanted to just quickly start with just kind of giving you an idea of the makeup on how men just are created in general. Most of us, I know some of the guys are going to get on me for this, but most of us, to be honest, we're insecure. We have many bouts with inadequacy. We walk around under pressure. A lot of the things we do in life and the way we attempt to build ourselves up is for a woman. They're not going to tell you that, but that's the truth. A lot of the things that we do, a lot of the things that we say, a lot of the things that we call ourselves storing away for, it's for a woman. And I'm speaking in the terms of just you being a heterosexual man. I realize we live in a omni swirling world, but just from that perspective, men do these things for a woman. And so when I said earlier about us having bouts with insecurity, inadequacy, that's me telling you that although we were created with all this brood, and whether you stocky, tall, short, strong, whatever, we're very fragile and ego driven. We're very, very fragile. And it's like, a man could come and he could be approaching this person or in a situation with this person, and she could say one thing. He may not let you know it right there on the spot, but she could say one thing that can alter his whole being in a moment. And he may not communicate it to you, but when you obliterate him, he is just sitting there. He's processing it, but he's just like, wow, that was quite the blow. So I'm only saying that to say in successful relationships, I realize It's a two-sided street. There is no one way to say, as long as this person is pleased, as long as that person is not pleased, we'll get along. You know, the whole happy wife, happy life, all those kind of things that we hear thrown around a lot. But the truth be told is we both have to be happy. You know, there has to be an even exchange, although that exchange may fluctuate. It may be 90 to 10, it may be 70 to 30, it may be 40 to 60. Nonetheless, the concept still bears to beg that there needs to be some sort of a fair exchange in order for that relationship to flourish. And so a lot of times there is that grocery cart list of things that women like to see in line and checked off to keep them content. And I say content because the happiness piece of it can fluctuate. And I say content because that changes. Sometimes it could be a good month and everybody's smiling. And then the next time you don't do something right, or you make the wrong decision, now we're back in the seat of unhappiness. So that whole happy thing fluctuates. But if we could keep the person content, you'll be in at least a good space. And so while we men, this is how we broach it. We're in a relationship, we're in a marriage. We're looking to be as consistent as we can. We want to be looked at. And I'm saying looked at because these are things we're doing for you to hope that you see. We want you to see us being consistent. We want you to see us being a capable provider. We want you to see us as being a protector. We want you to see us as the resource person. No man will lie and tell you if something happened at home, he wouldn't want his person to say, oh, girl, go outside and get Kevin. He can fix this, or he can make sure, even if Kevin can't fix it, Kevin will make sure it gets done. However he does it, he knows how to handle it. And so those are the things, in addition to all of the other things and gifts and acts of service, kindness and physical touch, all those things that we do to keep the woman, as I say, content. On the side of the man, it's not so much of what we're looking for from you by way of love as being acts of service, so to speak. Although it's nice. Everybody likes somebody to do something for you nice. But for us, it all boils down to respect. To a man, it all boils down to respect, because and being a man, I hate to say it this way, but it's largely how we are made up. And when that is compromised, that we find ourselves as men at an impasse. Once that's compromised, we don't know what to do. It's just like, so I'm in this situation with this person, I'm in this marriage, but they don't respect me. What do you do with that? You know how how we hear the term, if there's no trust, we don't have a relationship. Or how can you love the person if we don't have trust? It is the same thing with the respect factor for the man. If it's not present, it's not functional. If the respect isn't present, it will not be a functional relationship. Because just like our counterparts, the women, if you don't, we all know the story. If you don't do certain things consistently, if you don't keep certain things going positively, if you aren't showing up, eventually if it keeps up and that woman is bringing something to you and you're not addressing it, if it keeps up, we know the story. Either she's going to end the relationship eventually, or there'll be an alternative interest and by way of another person sitting right there to fill those shoes in the moment. Well, guess what? It is the same for men. When men are in situations where they're not respected, men will in turn, they'll deal depending on the situation and the scenario, they'll deal, but trust and believe, eventually men will back out of the scenario, and wherever that deficit is, he will find himself seeing it filled in another scenario. So this is why it's important, and I say that not loosely, but this is why it's important for both sides to learn those important things of each other, of one another. Because once you learn those things that are important to each other, if you care, that is, if you care, you take a moment to say, hey, if this means this much to this person, then I need to do what I need to do to keep them apprised to what's happening, so that I can let the person know that they mean something to me. And that's and how many of us know the best way to let someone know what you mean to them is by kind of like abiding by the things that they care about, the things that matter most to them. So in most cases, women, everybody in general wants to be respected, but specifically men, it is a necessity. Women want to be regarded. Women want to be pampered. They want to be. They want a man that can properly place them in their feminine energy. Well, respect keeps him in his masculine energy. Now, I get it. Again, I understand that sometimes to give respect to men, I know I hear the words churning where people are like, yeah, well, y'all need to act respectable to get respect. And at the end of the day, we all are human beings and we all deserve just general respect. As it is, just off top, we all deserve respect. I would say if you're with an individual and that person is acting in a way that causes you not to respect them, then that's cause for you to say, well, maybe I'm not in the correct relationship. If I can't perform well, and I'm not even talking about anything intimate, but performing from the perspective of how you treat one another. If I can't perform well in the relationship, then perhaps this isn't a good relationship for me. And on that whole performing thing, it all plays in, it all ties together. You don't treat a person well externally, the intimate part will suffer. It will. I don't care if you. I know people come up with all kind of things and thoughts and talking about, oh, we get angry so we can make up and do this, that, and the other. That works for a little while, but make no mistake about it. When resentment sits in, it slowly will deteriorate that connection. Yeah, sure, you can be intimate and active, but it will change. It will change because it will start to diminish. And once it diminishes, it just turns into what once was passion, it turns into just to an act. And then you both feel disconnected, and you're at a point where you're like, hey, this is no longer what it used to be, and we're at a bad place. So that's why it's important to pay attention to those signs when people are talking and they're telling you something is ailing them, something is not right, something isn't good. I'm not being treated well. I'm not being respected. Those are those buzzwords to listen to. And like, I know us men, we have plenty of words to listen to when it comes to y'all. Y'all tell us all the time, you're not being consistent. You're being a person of your word. Oh, you say you were going to do that. You say you were going to show up. You say you was going to provide this. Say you was going to do this. So our list is full. Now, for us, we could have a lot of things to say that we want to, but we will put that all down to one thing: just respect. If you can successfully navigate your man to a way that you understand him enough to understand that respect means everything to him, that's it. If you can do that, you got it. That's just that right there is just the paramount piece, is to just make sure the respect is in place. And if you're having a challenge, if you're having a challenge in that area with your person, then talk about it. If it's a challenge to the point where it's just like something is not right that's keeping you from being able to respect your person, talk about it, because it's a real thing. I know a lot of us can act in ways that don't seem like they warrant respect. I'm not going to even lie to you on that. We can all act a fool, and you be like, I'm not respecting that person. Look how they act, and so on and so forth. But if you find yourself in that position and you're with a partner that you're trying to care to keep close to you or to be in a relation with, then speak about it. You got to say something, because if you don't, again, unheard cries eventually end in deep regret. You know, when someone's crying and they're not necessarily physically crying, but when they're crying out, I know sometimes we can get in that mode where we just don't care and we thinking about ourselves. We get a little selfish. But when someone's constantly saying something and beating something up against our brain, it behooves us to listen. Or either you're going to listen now and adjust, or really physically cry later and be filled with regret. So that's why it's just good to, as much as you can, you know, get to the bottom of these issues that are found in some of these relationships. I know for me, I can't speak for no one else, but reading just through the chapters of this book, again, it's out now, guys. You say you love me, but do you respect me? It's out now. You can get your copy on Amazon or wherever, you know, they're selling the books. But nonetheless, I'm only saying that to say these tools that we come out with, I know that some of these books, if I like to put myself in a position of an onlooker, not necessarily somebody writing a book, but I say to myself, sometimes you could say, oh, another book, what are they complaining about now? It all depends on your perspective. It may seem like something the men are crapping about now. What are they saying? And it's really not even that. It's just a teaching tool. It's a compilation of men. And we do that specifically so that you just don't get one train of thought. Because I know we all know how that is when it's just one person speaking. Everyone just doesn't agree with that one perspective. So we purposely gathered various perspectives, various walks of life, duties and jobs of men, so that we could put this one topic here and have multiple layers peeled back of perspective so people could get a better understanding. That's the purpose behind that. So we only do these things for the purpose of learning tools. Because I know for me, I'm not going to put all of my blood, sweat, and tears and write anything just for contention. I could have enough of that on my own. But anyway, I do those things because I want something positive, and I want to see, if at all possible, a more healthier love climate, because I think our love climate today sucks. It's like really bad. It's really dismissive. It lacks empathy. It's disrespectful. And this is on both sides, not just one person. It's just, we all know it. I mean, you have the plight of what's happening in the world of singles. Everything is about an exchange, an agreement, and an exchange. It's no more commitments. It's no more, let's race to the ring. Let's do this. It is an exchange and an agreement. As long as we cool in the exchange and we're consistent with our cool arrangement, then we all good. It doesn't matter if you're married, don't matter if you got a fiance, no matter if you live with somebody, it doesn't matter. Just come with the things that the person wants, whatever that exchange is, and that's what you do. That's the single world. Now, you have the married side. You have the married side where the folks are married, but let's call it what it is. These things out here now are everything is so tempting. Everything is so accessible. We have social media. We have all these things that give us instant gratification. So what comes with when you have a commitment, such as a marriage, and you have two people that are committed to work together to make something work, but if those same people are allowing themselves to sometimes take in some of these unhealthy things that we see that come across our timelines, and it's not always a physical situation. Sometimes it's just what we hear. Can you imagine being in a relationship or a marriage with someone and you and this person is trying to work on something, where every other post that you pull up becomes, did your person do this? If he or she is doing this, they are not the one. If they're doing this, they're cheating. If this person is doing this, let me tell you, you don't need to date women anymore. You hear all of this negative rhetoric all day, and that's just for the ears. Now, we haven't gotten to the eyes yet. The eye portion of it is horrible. Like I can't speak for women, but on the men's side of it, I say this all the time. I pray, now as imperfect as we are, I pray all the time. I say, what is the future of commitment in marriage going to look like if men, I'm only speaking as a man, if this is what men have to contend with on a daily basis? I don't care how spiritual you are. I don't care what your role in life as a man, who you are, street gangster, whatever, corporate, whatever. You are a man first. And can no one tell me that if you put yourself in a situation where you're constantly taking in physical snapshots, physical this, oh, we all grown, right? Okay. Booty here, breasts here, naked there, twerk here. And this isn't just on Facebook. Across all platforms, you see this. And so imagine trying to be a man and hold your family together or hold your relationship together, and all day long those things are festering in your brain, which then it turns from thoughts to actions. No one's going to want to keep seeing these things and not formulate a plan of action. There's no way you're going to do it. It's like I don't care what it is. You could have went somewhere and have been the most amazing orator, doing this great community project that you're doing. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're such a pillar in the community." But then you hear about the brother, and then you as clockwork, what happened to him? Oh, he got caught with this. It's the power of temptation and the power of what we digest psychologically. That's what does it. Okay, I'm not saying that we can't combat temptation, because we can. If we choose not to do these things, we can. But I will tell you, it's easy to fall prey to it. I mean, you could find yourself messed up. It'll have you messed up. I mean, there was once upon a time, I always tell people, once upon a time, men could only imagine and wonder. That's all we could do. Once upon a time, back in the day, men would see women like that's. I remember I grew up in the inner city. So growing up in DC, I could come out my door and hang on the corners with the guys, and here comes these people walking by, and we would make our little jokes or say our little stuff to them, and that was that. And back then, at best, you might have saw somebody with shorts on in the summertime, and with those, they weren't short like they are like the Daisy Dukes and all that kind of stuff. They was just regular stuff. So imagine a culture of time where everything was left to the imagination. You could still see that somebody was put together or had a decent figure, but it was left to the imagination. Imagine going from that. And if you all remember, there was that era where it was really strong, where people were becoming addicted to porn and stuff like that. Nowadays, it is right in your face. You don't have to go subscribe anywhere. These people that be running these little OnlyFans pages, they done came out the bleachers. Now they on regular Facebook and Instagram trying to be your friend like a normal person, but then it's like, subscribe, oh, get on. But what I'm trying to say is all of these things are right here. And so all the things that you once had to put your shades on and do like this is right in your open purview. So it is right there for you to gorge, take in, and get yourself super distracted for. And so that's why it's important to be vigilant. If you're not being vigilant or you're not practicing having the wherewithal to tear away from some of these things, it'll mess you up. I promise you. And so you can try to be in any relationship or marriage that you want to, but unless you're going to practice being the best actor and give Denzel a run for his money, you're going to get in some trouble being out here and thinking that you can partake in those festivities and then come back home and be a functioning mate and or man to someone. It's virtually impossible. That's why nowadays the negative culture has turned from when we see people get married or engaged, we used to wish them well. Now when people get married or engaged, we set our our stopwatch. All right, girl, what time is this? Saturday at 10:30, they got married? Okay, let's put a tickler on there for a year from today, girl. They'll be in divorce court. That's what we're doing now, not just girl, but men and women. We're hating to the point now where we're not even cheering people on. We are waiting for their demise because we have lost the faith in connectivity and love. And so these are the things we have to work on. And I know I went on a unique perspectives rant, but these are the things that, if I'm bringing it all back to center field, this is learning one another's love languages are key. So for us men, you can say what y'all want about words of affirmation and all these other things. We would trade all of that for respect. Make no mistake about it. Ask your guy if you think I'm lying. Ask your man, ask your husband. All those other things. Oh, honey, I like a physical touch and words of affirmation and all this. All that is fine, but we would trade it all for your respect. And we know for you all, we know we have a laundry list. We understand it and we have become accustomed to it. But what I always try to tell men, and I've even told my son this, is that it's important to understand that while you are trying to please someone else and check off all of your performance boxes, make sure you don't lose you in the process. Because what good is it for you to be the best performer and provider to her while you suffer in silence? And suffering in silence is your needs aren't met. You walking around here dissatisfied, mad, resentment, but you did everything she asked you to do. So you did everything that's expected of you. You went out and did this, that, and the other. But as far as you're concerned, you're suffering because, again, that's another little avenue of respect. If the person, I think we talked about last time, we were talking about, so last time we were kind of going through some of this with some of the authors, and what we were talking about is the men want to know that they're considered, basically. They want to know that, okay, so all that he's doing and attempting to do is for naught. It's at least appreciated. Someone is like, well, babe, I appreciate all of that you've done and all that you do. Something that brief takes 3 seconds to say, but it can make a mountain of a difference to a man. He just wants to know, I'm just not a check. I'm not just a help button away. Because a lot of times we feel like we are dealt with when the help button is pushed for whatever that help is. Bing, I need you to do this. Bing, can you do this? Bang, you got this? Bam, send this. And the man is like, wait a minute. I'm a man. I'm still human. I got things I need to. It's not just all. I wasn't created here to just dump to you. I was created here to be an exchange while I'm leading you for a healthy exchange. But by no means was I brought to this earth to just deliver to you. Do you understand? I think we have to understand that and be fair in these exchanges and how we're doing these things. And so, again, the respect piece. I said last night to the guys, I told them, I said, I believe, this is just my opinion, women are a result-driven breed. Women like to see action. Women like to see you committed, like whatever. Women admire men that are committed to whatever it is they do. Bad, good, bad, or indifferent. This is where the bad boy concept comes from. It's not what you think. We think it is, it's because such and such going to do something different sexually. That's psychological. What the bad boy concept is, if I had to choose, I think I like the fact that this bad person is very committed. He's really good at being bad. That's intriguing to me because I think I can implement change in his life, because no one just really wants to be in a bad situation forever where you can end up getting hurt by it. You enter into it because you think you can inflict change. Newsflash, you can't. Anyway, when you meet people, how they are is how they are. Unless they want to change. That's the biggest misconception we have about relationships. We think something we do can inflict change. Oh, if I do this nice enough, if I bring this, if I do this, this person will change. Not true. People change when they have the unction to do it because they feel you're important. And it's not maybe not for you. I mean, when they want to change themselves in general, you just happen to be the beneficiary because you're in their life. But I wouldn't say change for a person ever, because what happens when that person is out of your life? You go back to being a jerk again. So when you change, make sure you change for you. But there is no remedy for getting people to do what you want them to do. Sure, we can. Some of us are good manipulators, master manipulators, and all these things, and we know how to pawn people to do what we want them to do for a season. Because even if for a season you get over and get by, and then people eventually get tired and they get smart, and that same game gets played back on you, and the person leave you alone. So that's why it just makes sense to just be fair. Make sure you're being heard. That person is being heard. Make sure both parties have that mutual respect. You know, there's some things you don't do. You're not calling her out of her name. You're not raising your hand against her. You're not bringing other women around her. You're not in her face at the dinner table and y'all sitting there trying to have a candlelight dinner. You like this? Oh, God damn. All those kind of things. Those are disrespectful things. And so, but this whole disrespect thing, it could be the biggest blatant thing, and it could be the smallest minute thing, but it can eat away at you nonetheless. Perfect example, that same dinner conversation at the table, heck, it can be your husband. Let's take it extreme. You at the table with your husband. You're sitting there, your husband, y'all have been married for 10 years, and maybe it's not the best marriage, but you're trying to make it work. Now, in this era of social media, we know that it takes a second to get touched in the DMs, just a second. So just mind you at the table eating with your person, y'all are eating. Here comes ding, you look at your phone. And then here's this is a classic rude disrespect. I'm gonna tell you this. The man is sitting over there, the woman is here. The phone, the DM at the dinner table. She looks, what you doing, babe? Nothing. Talk to you later. Click. Disrespect. Major. It's like it's small to you, but it is major because now you're saying, I don't care nothing about what this Negro say. Dude right here is giving me the attention. He cute, whatever. I'm going to say something anyway. And that small little gesture that's private between you and your phone turns into something blatant. Then it turns into a meetup, and eventually an action. And eventually that's how the whole thing would start with you not even coming home no more. It starts small and grows. And this happens on both sides. Men do it, women do it. I was just using the female example, but it's the same concept. Those little small things that we take for granted and may not see them as something for someone to worry about, they're major parts of disrespect because it's not so much about the action, it's about the practice of what's growing in you. And what's growing in you is a disrespectful boldness, which will eventually get strong. As I always say, we practice what we wish to perfect. And once we perfect that disrespect, it's curtains. So that's why I say that this book is so timely, talking about respect, and we're only giving you the perspective from the male side first. We're just starting the waves off, but it is a long overdue, much needed conversation to deal with because this thing has been boiling for years with this whole disrespect concept between both sides. And it's just like it's terrible, but all we could do and all we started to do was just take a little page out of our book to say, hey, this is what's going on with us. We want you to understand why we may act a certain way or lack thereof, because from our perspective, these things regarding respect are not in alignment from our perspective to you. And so, and I know you all are going to read it and take it all kinds of various ways, but you know, it is what it is. It's a good thing. It's a good start. And though for me, my chapter that I wrote, my chapter deals with he sees love as respect. So I deal, just to give you a brief introduction, I deal in speaking about how we correlate, how let's think, women, think how you correlate love and how you think a man's supposed to love you and those things that go off in your brain to make you think, yes, he loves me. In our mind, we're equating your levels of respect with us with your levels of love for us. So that's what I deal with and break down in my chapter. And there's some interesting chapters. Before I get ready to get out of here, I'll just read through really quick. I'm gonna read through real fast these chapters. Number one, he sees love as respect, trust versus respect. I want a partner, not a mother. Just ask, don't nag. Consistency counts for something. Honor my name. Be there when I fail and fall. I need your compliment, not correction. Undermine it. Last I checked, I have the all right. Battle in the bedroom. Do you cover me? Take care of my money. Can you follow my lead? And last but not least, focus on me. These are the chapters that comprise the book. There's a little few surprises here and there sprinkled. I know a couple of guys maybe done a bonus chapter or something like that, but it's a great, great, great read. Very inspiring and will cause you to think. That's all we wanted to do, was cause you to think about the way and the ways that you love or call yourself loving, because a lot of times we're not really loving adequately. We're just playing a role. So, and then titling it love. But I would just challenge you, get your copy, read for yourself, and come back and leave your feedback. And, because we're going to be, I just happened to kick this off today. I had a little bit of time during lunch to do this, but I just kick it off today. But I'm going to try to connect with other guys, as many as I can, over the next couple of days to have a little more of an intimate setting to kind of finish things out with the book and go on from there. And I appreciate you guys for listening. So remember, out now, you say you love me, but do you respect me? Get your copy today. Thanks for listening. I'm Charles Dixon, and I will see you guys soon. Take care.